Fanfic Corner, Special Edition Fanfics, presented by Jennifer. He Didn't Have to Be, a Star Wars The Bad Batch Father's Day fanfic. Omega had a special relationship with each member of the Bad Batch. Tech was the best teacher she ever had. Granted, he was the only teacher she ever had. Echo was like an uncle, and Wrecker was like a big brother, and her partner in crime. But her relationship with Hunter was more special. Without even trying or noticing, he had become like a father to her. He was the one who always made sure she was safe while on missions, and that she ate well and got a decent amount of sleep. He was also the one who had begun teaching Omega how to protect herself, and instructed Tech to set up a school program for her. He also made sure that Omega had some fun. Game night was a big hit, as was movie night. Omega's favorite movies were Raya and the Last Dragon and Moana, but she surprised the rest of the squad by also liking The Swan Princess and Spirited Away. It's movie night, Omega said happily as she helped Hunter portion out the Mantel mix. Can we watch Raya? Omega, Hunter said with a laugh, you know it's Echo's turn to pick the movie. I still don't see why I can't pick the movie, Wrecker said. Because you consistently choose movies that are not appropriate for Omega, Tech said. It wasn't that bad. Wrecker, Red Riding Hood is rated R, which stands for restricted, and there is a good reason. Well, Echo said, hopefully this one is alright. At least it's PG-13. The Fellowship of the Ring. Are you sure that the Orcs, Ringwraiths, and Sauron won't be too scary for Omega? Hunter asked. I can handle it, Omega said. Alright, but it's a long movie, Hunter said. So you have to get ready for bed first. But Hunter, no buts. Now go on. Omega knew better than to argue. She went to her room and came back a few minutes later in her nightgown. Remember, Hunter said as Omega took a seat next to him and the movie started. Bedtime right after the movie. Hunter was awakened in the middle of the sleep cycle by the sound of quiet footsteps moving through the ship. His heightened senses had always made him a light sleeper. He was about to reach for his knife when he felt something, or rather someone, snuggle into his side. I had a feeling that movie would be too much for you, he said as he turned over and put an arm around Omega. I'm not scared, Omega said. I just didn't want to be by myself in my room. Hunter didn't say anything. Omega had a habit of crawling into his bunk when she was scared. The last time she did this was just after they escaped from Camino the second time. Don't worry, he said. Sauron can't leave his tower. Tech and Echo can outsmart the ring race. Wrecker can take on a whole battalion of orcs, and I'll know they're coming long before they get here. Omega snuggled closer. She always felt the safest with Hunter. Sleep well, little hobbit, Hunter said. Elven princess, Omega clarified. Oh, so you're Arwen. Yep, she's not like the princesses from some of the other movies I've seen. Well then, your highness, sweet dreams. The moon was lush and forested. It reminded Omega of the forests from the movie. She couldn't help but think of how fun it would be to play Fellowship of the Ring there. But they were on a mission, so she knew better than to ask Hunter. This was a simple supply run. Sid had some kind of contact they were to meet. Fee had come with them, claiming to know the contact. But Omega knew different. Fee kinda liked Tech. Omega liked it when Fee came on missions with them. She was fun to be around and had lots of interesting stories. She had come to recognize Hunter as their leader and didn't question his decisions. And Hunter had learned to defer to her in matters where she had more experience. Sticking close to her brothers and Fee, Omega looked around some more. It's like the forest from the movie, isn't it? Hunter said, as if reading her mind. Yes, Omega said, before looking back at the forest. There aren't any orcs out there, are there? We checked. There are no orcs here. What's this about orcs? Fee asked. We watched the Fellowship of the Ring the other day. It was really good, Omega said. It had elves and wizards and magic in it. Sounds like a good movie, Fee said. It is. And it's supposed to be based on a book, Hunter said. Echo said it's part of something called a trilogy, Omega said. Hunter, what's a trilogy? It's a set of 3 movies or books. Oh. Omega was learning and experiencing lots of new things since leaving Camino with the Bad Batch. Back on Camino, she had never left the city. There had even been times when she had been restricted to Nalise's private lab. That's where she first met the Bad Batch, though they didn't know it at the time. She had downloaded and read the files on them. She wanted to know everything about them. They all had interesting files, but Hunter's had intrigued her the most. Right then and there, she had decided that if she ever got to leave Camino and have a normal life, it would be with them, and Hunter would be her dad. Can we play Lord of the Rings? Omega asked. Please, Hunter? Hunter smiled. He couldn't say no to his unofficial daughter. Who do you want to be? He asked. Omega thought a moment. Frodo, she said. He's the hero. I think. You're Aragorn. With that, Omega ran ahead to tell the others who they would be. Hunter heard a groan and figured that Omega had decided Wrecker would be Gimli. No doubt Omega would have Tech be Gandalf and Echo be Legolas. It's nice to see her like this, Fee said. She's playing and acting like a kid. Hunter had to agree. Omega never did have the time or the chance to act like a kid. The last time had been on Seleucamine. He and his brothers had been trying to give her more opportunities, but Sid kept them busy. Omega was tired when she went to bed, but she was happy. Sid didn't have any jobs for them, so the squad decided to take the day off and went to their favorite forest moon for a day trip. It had been fun, swimming in the lake, having a picnic lunch, exploring the forest, and playing Fellowship of the Ring. Omega had had the time of her life. When the time came to go back to Ord Mantell, she didn't want to leave. The goal had been to give Omega a fun day where she could be a kid and just have fun and play. And they had definitely achieved that goal. Did you have fun today? Hunter asked. Yeah, Omega said as Hunter helped her take off her boots and get in bed. I love when we have family days. I wish they happened more. We'll try to have them more often. but keep in mind it won't be as common as movie night or game night. Omega nodded, trying to hide a yawn. She was almost asleep when she climbed into the gunner's chair. Smiling, Hunter picked up Lula and handed her to Omega before draping a blanket over both child and toy. Omega gripped Lula tightly, finally falling asleep. Hunter leaned forward and gave her a kiss goodnight, not caring if the others saw him. "Sweet dreams, Omega," he said. "I love you." "I love you too, Dad," Omega said, loud enough for only Hunter to hear. Smiling to himself, Hunter headed to the front of the ship. He had never thought he would be a father, but now, with the help of his brothers, he was raising Omega like she was his daughter. Okay, if any of you have a fanfic or a short story you'd like me to do a reading on for Fanfic Corner or Story Corner, please feel free to send it to either my Facebook page, Tumblr account, or Facebook group. I'll have the link for all three in the description section. Couple of things to keep in mind. First off, please be sure to include your name and the name of the author if you're submitting someone else's work. Second, please try to keep them short. Third, please try to keep them clean and appropriate. Fourth, if it's a holiday fanfic or short story, please submit 2 months before the holiday and be sure to include the name and date of the holiday. And finally, please be honest.